today's video, I want to talk about why your ASD husband can't believe that you love him. We're going to look at ASD attachment trauma. So let me say something that might hit a little deeper than you expect. If you're loving a ASD partner consistently, patiently, genuinely, and he still doesn't seem to believe you, that's not because your love isn't strong enough. It's because in his nervous system, love does not register as safe, believe it or not. And if you don't understand that, you're going to keep trying harder and he'll keep pulling further away. Not because he doesn't care, but because somewhere deep inside, your love is colliding with a story that says in his mind, I am not someone who gets to be loved like that. We're talking about some ASD shame right there. So today, we're going to break that cycle. I want to talk about the pattern you're living in as the NT wife. Let's name what's actually happening in the neurodiverse relationship. You reach for connection. You try to express warmth, appreciation, affection, and instead of it landing, it gets deflected, minimized, ignored. Or, and this is the painful one, it gets turned into irritation or withdrawal, and you're left thinking, why does he push me away when I'm trying to love him? Why does he act like I'm too much? Why does this feel one-sided? And if this has gone on long enough, you start questioning your own reality. You start shrinking your efforts, or worse, you start over-functioning, trying to prove your love in ways that slowly drain you. But here's the shift I want you to make. You're not dealing with a lack of love. You're dealing with a rejection of love at the neurological level. Now let's talk about the hidden origin. We're going to go deeper now, because this didn't start in your marriage. This started long before you ever met your ASD husband. Most people on the autism spectrum grew up in an environment where two things were consistently true. One, chronic misattunement. They're misunderstood, they're corrected, they're overlooked. Their internal experience doesn't match what others expect, so they learn who I am naturally doesn't fit with this world. Two, sensory and emotional overwhelm. What feels manageable to others can feel intense, chaotic, and painful to autistic people. So they develop coping strategies, withdrawal, shutdown, emotional distancing, not because they don't care, but because connection itself can feel overwhelming. Now, combine those two experiences over years, and something very specific forms. A deeply embedded internal narrative. The ASD brain thinks connection is unsafe. I will get it wrong. I am either too much or not enough. If I get close, I will fail. Love and emotional connection is dangerous. That's not just a belief. That's a nervous system expectation. Now, why does love feel like such a threat? That seems so strange, doesn't it? Well, here's where this becomes really important for your neurodiverse relationship. When you offer love, affection, warmth, emotional closeness, your nervous system is saying, this is connection, this is bonding, this is safety. But his nervous system, he's going to interpret that same moment as pressure, demand, exposure, risk of failure, or even loss of control. So instead of receiving your love, his system shifts into protection. And that protection can look like pulling away, becoming logical, becoming dismissive, changing the subject, getting irritated, going quiet. And here's the part that hurts the most. For you, that feels like rejection. Also, you may be thinking, perhaps at an unconscious level during those moments, I don't know how I can survive this marriage. Now, let's look at the tragic loop. We have a loop that looks like this. You reach, he withdraws. When he withdraws, you reach harder. When you reach harder, he feels more overwhelmed. So he pulls back further, and then you feel alone. And over time, this becomes a relationship identity. You become the pursuer, he becomes the distancer, and both of you feel unseen. But here's the truth that most people miss. You are both responding to pain. Your pain says, why can't you meet me? His pain says, I don't know how to be who you need. Now let's talk about reframing your ASD spouse without invalidating you as the NT wife. This is where we bridge the empathy gap, because I want you to hold two truths at the same time. One, your pain is real. You're not too much for wanting emotional connection. And two, his withdrawal is not indifference. It's a survival strategy shaped long before you arrived. Now, When your autistic partner rejects affection, it's not a rejection of you. It's a rejection of what affection represents in his nervous system, which is uncertainty, exposure, and possible failure. So instead of labeling him as emotionally unavailable, shift the lens to he is neurologically defending against something he doesn't yet feel safe enough to receive. That changes everything because now we can work with it. Let's talk about the repair strategy. We're going to get very practical here because insight without strategy won't change a damn thing. Here's some tools that actually begin to rebuild trust. Tool number 1, lower the emotional intensity of connection. Big emotional expressions can overwhelm your ASD spouse. So instead of saying, well, I love you so much and I need you to feel that, try, I just want you to know I appreciate something you did earlier. That's short, specific, and contained. This makes connection feel safer to process. Tool number 2, remove the performance pressure. One of the biggest hidden triggers is this, feeling like he has to respond correctly. So instead of, why don't you ever say it back? Try, you know what, you don't have to respond right now. I just wanted to share that with you. This removes the threat of failure. Tool number 3, build predictable connection moments. Spontaneous emotional moments can feel destabilizing to your ASD spouse. On the other hand, predictability creates safety. For example, a 10-minute check-in at the same time each day, a structured connection ritual. When his brain knows what's coming, it doesn't have to defend as hard. Tool number 4, validate the discomfort without collapsing your needs. Now, this is critical. You can say, you know what, I see this feels uncomfortable for you and connection still matters to me. That's what secure attachment sounds like. Not abandoning yourself and not attacking him. Tool number 5, slow down the moment. When you feel the withdrawal happening, you see him shutting down. Most neurotypical wives speed up. They pursue harder. Instead, slow it down. You know what? Let's pause for a second. I don't want this to feel overwhelming for you. You're regulating the moment, not escalating the moment. Now let's talk about what actually rebuilds trust. Here's what changes everything over time. Not intensity, not emotional pressure, not proving your love harder. It's this. Consistent, low-threat, repeatable experiences of safe connection. That's how the nervous system rewires. Not in one big moment, but in hundreds of small moments. And slowly, the internal narrative begins to shift from, this is too much, this is unsafe, to, maybe it's okay. And eventually, maybe I can receive this love and affection. So, if you're in this dynamic right now, I want you to hear this very clearly. Listen, you're not crazy for wanting connection, and he's not defective and flawed for struggling to receive it. But this will not fix itself without intention. It requires a very specific kind of work, the kind that most couples are never taught. So if you keep walking through this process step by step, learning how to regulate these moments, rebuild trust, and actually create a secure connection in a neurodiverse relationship, that's exactly the kind of work I do here on this channel and with my coaching workshops. Because this isn't just about communication. It's about rewiring how connection is experienced. And that changes everything. If this resonates with you, you're not alone. You don't have to stay stuck. Let's keep going. Please like, subscribe, and comment. I will read and respond to your comment. Thanks for watching. Would you like to schedule a paid private coaching session? This will be in the form of a face-to-face Zoom call. Underneath any of my videos, you'll see this Calendly link. If you click on that link, it'll open up my calendar. You can pick the available days and times that works for your schedule. You'll get a follow-up email immediately after purchasing a session that will have the Zoom link that coincides with the day and time that you picked. I will get an email too that you scheduled a session, and I will be available on that exact day and time, and we will talk. I look forward to working with you.